For instance, it all started, I think, with a Darren Ravel tweet. And I'll tell you what, Darren Ravel is a interesting cat. He gets either zero action on his tweets or he starts a war with his tweets. Right? It's one or the other. It is an interesting situation. By the way, we should say the Action Network's Darren Ravel. I still think everybody, he signed to the Action Network. He's no longer with ESPN.
That was nice of you to clarify.
Well, I just, in my head, every time I read Darren Ravel, I just think of him at ESPN. And then I'm like, man, Action Network probably paid him a pretty good amount of money. And it never, ever says Action Network's Darren Ravel. That's probably poor branding. If I'm Action Network, I'm having him change his name to Action Network's Darren Ravel, by the way, on Twitter. Something to think about.
Smart.
Neither here nor... Well, you know what? Sometimes you don't want to be associated with that fucking guy. So I guess that's kind of up in the air. But it all started with him saying, the women win the World Cup. They will each be paid $250,000. If the men were to do the same, they would each get $1.1 million.
That's a big difference.
Boom! Big difference. Big difference. Over 4 times the difference there, Zito. It's just, it starts an instantaneous, whose side of the fence are you on? Whose dick is bigger conversation. And just like everything, if you believe this, then you believe this. If you believe this, you believe this. If you believe that the LGBTQ community should get the equal rights as everybody else, all of a sudden you're a hippie who loves weed, who doesn't understand the world, blah, 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 blah. If you think there should be a border on the South, you're a terrible person, you're a racist, you're a homophobe, you're this, you're this. If you believe that the U.S. Women's World Cup team, national team, who is the face of soccer in America, who is the most successful soccer program that has maybe ever existed, I would argue, maybe ever existed, should get paid at least equal to the failing men's soccer team. All of a sudden, you're a socialist, you're a coward who has no idea how economics work, who just don't understand the world. You want a 90% tax on everybody because you feel this way. You want equal pay. You want a higher minimum wage. And I'm only saying that because I put out a tweet saying, hey, let's talk about these salaries. That's all I said. That's all I said, by the way, was let's talk about these salaries. And these were the tweets that I got from people, that I was a socialist who didn't understand the world, that I was a coward, that I bet I would like a 90% tax. No, I fucking hate Bernie Sanders. Let's make sure that is out there. But it's just one of those things where there's no more common sense anymore. And I understand the economics behind it, how there's $3.1 billion for the men's World Cup, and there's only 140 million, blah, blah, blah. But if I'm the U.S. Soccer Federation, which I'm sure is dirty, which I'm sure is fucking just the most fraudulent operation, just like everything else is in the world, I'm trying to keep my ladies as happy as possible because they're the only reason soccer is going to grow at all in this country, because all you see whenever you see men on TV is what? Them fail. Yeah. Just fucking fail.
Every time.
The same exact day. The same exact day as the women go back to back. The men can't even score a fucking goal in the Gold Cup final against Mexico, which is, for those that don't know soccer, one of our arch rivals. Like U.S., Mexico, even as kids, it's a big-time rival. Can't even score a goal. Can't do shit. Christian Pulisic has a chance to maybe take it over and stuff like that. But I just think there has to be somewhere where we don't just paint a broad brush over everything. We have some common sense. We're like, you know what? Hey, maybe those ladies that fucking represent for the red, the white, and the blue deserve a little bit more money. And also, maybe they need a light switch Lou who can maybe go sell some fucking sponsorships and get them a bit more money out there. That's what I'm thinking.
That's why I didn't like a lot of the arguments that people were making, saying that you were basically a fucking idiot that didn't understand the financials of it. I was like, it seems bigger than what they're saying. So I looked up, and it said, like, according to the Wall Street Journal, the U.S. women's national team generated $50.8 million in ticket sales from 2016 to 2018, while the U.S. men's national team generated $49.9 million. They outperformed them financially as far as ticket sales go. I know it doesn't count TV deals and whatever people are obtaining sponsorships.
Well, and it was also 18 games versus 8 games, so there's different, but it's still, that's 50 fucking, they're showing up.
Yes, they are causing tickets to be sold.
Exactly, and this is how, like, NCAA people talk about how, well, we can't pay the players because we don't make enough money. These women are making money. I mean,
they're doing their job.
It is on paper. These women are they are entertaining. They are winning. They are doing their job. And this is something that, just like I talked about Light Switch Lou, like selling some ads for them. So, for instance, our podcast reaches a group of humans that not a lot of podcasts reach, right? Podcasts are normally big city places. Our podcast happens to be in the middle of America. So our ads are worth more to a lot of companies than other people because we're reaching a demo that other people can't reach.
Makes sense.
I feel like the women's soccer team should be making money because they're reaching a group of humans that the men's team can't reach, which are people that enjoy success, which is which is a group of people that you should want on your side. I feel like there has to be some sort of business plan or business route that the U.S. Soccer Federation, because that optically, that looks so bad, that 1.1 million, 200. And it's also like maybe they just made that number up. Like, all right, that'd be like me to Zito. Like, Zito, if you ever play on the Cuban national team, I'll give you $7 billion. It's almost like that's what they're doing. Like, if the men win, we'll pay them 1.1. If the men win the World Cup, we'll give them $1.1 million. Like, we know this is never going to happen. But with the women, they're like, all right, this is going to happen. What is the actual play? It's almost like that is kind of what happened.
So all the sponsorships happen now, though, right? After they win all these big opportunities.
Yeah, this is salary. This is all from like FIFA and from U.S. soccer, as opposed to like post soccer.
Gotcha.
Like, because let's say the 19th girl on the roster, she's not going to be getting a bunch of sponsorships right now, right? She's not going to do shit for the next 4 years, and I don't think there's a good women's soccer league out there paying her, right? So she was a part of this thing, and she's supposed to survive for the next 4 years, I guess, off of this $250,000 payment. But there has to be a way to better business this.
I dug into this a little bit into the way these revenues are split up, basically. So
it's like the NFL, right?
Kind of. The sponsorships are sold as a bundle in the sense that they're selling both the men's and women's team sponsorships in the same deal, which seems odd to me, right? It feels like you would want to sell those differently because then all that revenue is being split between them, but it's like one propping up the other. Used to be, right? But now they're arguably popularity of women's much more popular now.
I would say the women's soccer team is arguably.
I think they're more fun to watch, too.
They're more fun to watch. They're more entertaining. They're more successful. The men didn't even get into the fucking World Cup last time. I mean,
exactly.
And this is a guy, I played in the ODP. I came through the ODP ranks, the Olympic Development Program. I got pretty high up in that world. I mean, I very much understand that how hard it is to make it. The dudes just don't cut it for whatever reason, whether it's politics on who makes the team, who doesn't make the team, who's coaching, all that shit, whatever it is. The men's team play a boring style of soccer. They don't win, and none of the stars are from America. Now, granted, the Pulisic kid has a real shot to turn this whole thing on its head, but until then, I mean, it's not going to happen. I mean, it's very interesting.
Like you mentioned, too, initially, that's what I thought. I was like, okay, well, they know that the women are probably going to win the World Cup, so they can't afford to say, hey, we'll give you guys $1.1 million. All right. Whereas they know the men are never going to win the World Cup.
If the men win, here, listen up, Michael Bradley. You guys win a World Cup, we'll give you $4 billion.
Yeah, right.
How about that? We'll figure it out if it happens. It does feel like that is a chance too. But boy, optically, it just looks bad, especially in 2019 right now, where everything is like, hey, let's make our world a better one. That just seems to be one where it's just a glaring flaw whenever you're just kind of looking.
Also, go ahead.
Do you think the social media push behind it, like all these big people pushing?
Well, that's the world we live in. Social media is the reason why we live in a woke society. I mean, all this shit has been happening for years, but nobody knew about it. If you know, just like I just said there, without social media, without Action Network's Darren Ravel, we went straight from that. Congratulations, we're better than you. I was on a resort with a lot of people, by the way, that were not from America. I had that not British shirt on. There was a lot of Brits around. I had an American flag tank top on. I mean, it would have been a nice thing just to walk around, just walk around and be like, hey, cock of the walk. You know what I mean? How's it going? Yeah. Our women, the country I was born in, the country that I popped out of my mother, Sally McAfee, who's an angel, I popped out of her. The women that surround our states, better at your game than you are. So everybody can eat shit and move out of. I would like that seat right there too, sir. I would like you for the World Cup. I would like to do that. But social media, the only thing I can talk about now is, well, we're getting fucked. Now our pride and joy is getting, instead of just the past. By the way, ignorance is bliss is a real thing. Back in the day when you didn't know shit, it was just a happy time. I have a friend named Trip. Trip is one of the happiest dudes I've ever met. He's one of the most attractive dudes I've ever met. But it took him 45 years to graduate from West Virginia University. He's a dum-dum. Ignorance is bliss. He's one of the happiest dudes of all time. He has no idea what's going on. Zito, you are a perfect example of that. I didn't want to say it right to your face, but Nick pointed at you. YouTube will see that.
Is that a compliment?
It's definitely a compliment. It's definitely a compliment. Because the more you know, the more you have to analyze, the more you have to think, the more you have to digest, the more you have to be like, fuck, that's not right. And that's what happened with the Women's World Cup. It's like, instead of just being happy and celebrating and moving forward like you would in the past. Now it's like, you know what? They deserve a lot more than what they're getting. They just put on a show, beat the world's best, worked their ass off, represented our country, by the way, which our country doesn't always get represented well in a lot of things. It's like, come on, let's go ahead and take care of them. So it's kind of I don't want to say it's a buzzkill, but man, if U.S. Soccer and FIFA could figure that out, that'd be great because I'd like to celebrate a little bit.
Yeah, and you can't put like any blame on them for fighting for it because, like we already talked about, they're doing their part. They also read that the U.S. Women's National Team, like they're actually profitable. So in like 2017, they made $5 million in profit,
which probably never
The men's
happens.
team lost $1 million. They overspent. So if they're doing their part, then you got to start looking at the business model. What on the business end is lacking that's not providing
who's
a
getting
proper
paid a lot of
structure?
money?
Yeah.
Oh, who's the CEO that's making
What's going on
There are two different CBAs. There's a CBA for the men's team and a CBA for the women's team, and they are negotiated and set up quite differently.
Well, it seems like the female CBA, the women's CBA, needs to get Goodell on their side.
They just signed a new one. Seriously, they just signed a new one a year or two ago. The one before that was shit, and that was the reason for a lot of the outrage. The new one is better, but it's still not quite equal. The problem is the men's get paid. They get paid only if they play. So if a men's player doesn't play in the game, he does not get paid for that tournament, for that match, whatever it may be.
Oh, so if he's on a bench, he doesn't get paid?
I don't know about that. I don't know if it's a matter of dressing or being,
okay.
you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
But the women's do. They make a base salary and then they make bonuses based on performances and whatnot.
So that bonus, the thing that I was talking about, the bonus is something you could very easily add if you win a World Cup. That bonus could very easily be added. Another $250,000 bonus could be added in there somehow. And is there not a world we live in where some sponsor, some insurance company would love to? Allstate is the official sponsor of the World Cup bonus given to every women's. the $250,000. I mean, there's somewhere.
Easy.
It's an easy thing.
Or is it a matter where they just gotten complacent and said, all right, the best women in the world or the best American women want to play already, but not all the best men want to play for the national team. So we have to gear this
More
business
tempting.
model to bring in more money for them to get them in, which isn't fair. If you're a woman, she's like, yeah, I want to play no matter what I'm getting paid. That doesn't mean I shouldn't have equity. I shouldn't have parity in pay.
And that's
That
kind
doesn't
of
make any
the U.S.
sense.
Soccer Federation's kind of throwing that in their face, saying, like, you negotiated this, you're okay with it. But the women's national team is saying, well, we did this so we wouldn't go on strike. Their statement is this is the best agreement we could get without having to go on strike and having people lose money and being locked out.
So interesting because that tweet I put out, man, I've never seen that type of reaction.
The tweet after
that
too
was.
Well, I mean,
It was crazy.
you summed it up best, man. Broad strokes.
This is why, my tweet afterwards. This is check out my previous tweet. This is the reason why Twitter is the undisputed best. Just watch that thing go. And for 20 minutes, I watched that thing go, but it was getting nasty.
I was getting pissed.
It was getting very hateful in there. There was people saying very, very terrible things. And it wasn't about, it left the salaries quickly. It turned into everything else. Just like I said, if you believe this, then you believe this. It's like, oh, you want this? Oh, of course you do. You blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to be a catalyst for this. I don't want this to be my timeline. So I had to delete. I actually deleted it. I was like, I have to delete this because I don't want to read this in my timeline for the next fucking 4 years, which is potentially going to happen. But it's so interesting that there's never any, let's put our swords aside, There's never any let's just think about this from a smart common sense standpoint.
Yeah.
There's never any, and these people are talking and acting as if it's their cash.
Oh, yeah,
going
that's the
to
best.
Alex
Exactly.
Morgan or a Rapino or Presser. It's like it's their cash going. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why doesn't everybody know? Why doesn't everybody want everybody to be rich? Why doesn't everybody want everybody
I'm
to
just
be
trying
rich?
to support these awesome athletes that I love seeing play. That's it.
Hey,
It's
how about
as simple as that.
How about this? When I watch them win and beat another country, it makes me feel like I'm a fucking better human. And I would like them to get paid more.
Oh.
So how about that? How about that, buddy? How about that? How about whenever I watch the men's soccer team play, I want to crawl into a fucking hole and die.
You don't make me feel good about America.
You don't make me feel good about myself or anything. How about that? What's the problem with them getting rich? I don't know. But yes, I assume they'll all get rich now. Not all of them. The stars will all make money from just like the Olympic girls do with gymnastics and everything like that. And the tour that they'll go on playing soccer against people, they'll make more money. But it's just optically, it looks so terrible with that Action Network's Dan Ravel's tweet.